Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so that you know when live we go. Hello and welcome to today's DNS session. We are going to have a discussion on today's newspaper, The Hindu, Delhi edition dated 17 January 2022. We shall pick up articles important for civil service examination and we shall discuss them as per the demand of the exam. Today's DNS will be shared by me and Basava sir. The initial discussion will be taken up by Basava sir and later on I'll come back to you.
Now, this particular article appears on page number 7. The article is titled as Taxing the Cryptocurrency Transactions. This article shall be important from the perspective of GS Paper 3 Indian Economy. Now, before discussing various aspects of this particular article, let me first give you the background. See, in the recent days, there has been a rapid growth of the private cryptocurrencies such as the Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, etc. The rapid growth of these private cryptocurrencies can be attributed to a number of reasons, such as the higher liquidity within the Indian economy, the growth of private crypto exchanges such as the WazirX, Kuber, CoinSwitch, etc., as well as because of the nationwide lockdown. However, if you look at the present status of these private cryptocurrencies, the status as such is that these private cryptocurrencies cannot be considered as illegal, which means that a person can very well buy and sell these private cryptocurrencies. So just like how a person can buy equities, that is shares, bonds, etc. in the capital market, a person can easily buy these private cryptocurrencies on the private crypto exchanges such as the WazirX, CoinSwitch, Kuber, etc. Earlier, in the year 2019, the government of India had appointed a committee under the leadership of Subhash Chandra Garg. Now, this particular committee was supposed to give recommendations to the government as to how should the government deal with the growth of these private cryptocurrencies. Now, this particular committee recommended to the government that the government should put a complete ban on these private cryptocurrencies. Now, this is quite obvious because the private cryptocurrencies can be used for a number of illegal purposes such as the tax evasion, terror financing, and so on. So this committee recommended the government that we should put a complete ban on the private cryptocurrencies, and in place of private cryptocurrencies, the Reserve Bank of India should come up with an official central bank digital currency. So based upon the recommendations of the Subhash Chandra Garg committee, the government came up with a bill known as the Cryptocurrency and Official Digital Currency Bill 2021. This particular bill was supposed to be introduced in the winter session of the parliament. However, the government did not introduce this particular bill. Initially, the government proposed that under this particular bill, the government would put a ban on all the private cryptocurrencies. However, this particular government's proposal to ban the private cryptocurrencies was in turn opposed by a number of stakeholders. Accordingly, according to some of the media speculation, it has been highlighted that the government may have changed its stand or its stance with respect to private cryptocurrencies. According to some of the media reports, it has been highlighted that the government may not put a complete ban on the private cryptocurrencies. Instead of completely banning the private cryptocurrencies, the government may decide to regulate the private cryptocurrencies as assets. So just like how you can buy assets such as shares, bonds, etc., you will be allowed to buy the private cryptocurrencies as assets. The government may probably put a ban with respect to usage of these private cryptocurrencies for the purpose of doing transactions. That is, for the purpose of buying goods and services, but you can use these cryptocurrencies as assets. Apart from that, the government may also decide to impose tax on the trading of these crypto assets. So right now, when you buy shares, bonds, etc., and if you are making profits on these assets, you are required to pay tax to the government. On similar lines, if you buy a cryptocurrency and on selling of these cryptocurrencies, if you are making profits, then automatically you will be required to pay tax to the Indian government. So that is what has been speculated as far as the government's stand is concerned. So as far as this particular article here is concerned, this particular article discusses as to whether the present taxation regime that we have in India, whether it is sufficient enough to bring the cryptocurrency transactions under the tax bracket. And secondly, what are the challenges with respect to bringing the cryptocurrency transactions under the tax bracket? And thirdly, what should be done going ahead? So, as far as your UPSC examination is concerned, there are various aspects which become important from the perspective of your prelims and the mains examination. For example, questions can be asked with respect to cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology. This particular topic has already been discussed in much greater detail in our DNS dated 10th of September 2020. Secondly, questions can be expected with respect to central bank digital currency. Questions can be asked with respect to various dimensions of central bank digital currency, such as the concept of central bank digital currency, the need and benefits of central bank digital currency. All of these aspects I have covered in the DNS dated 31st of Jan 2021. So as far as this particular article is concerned, in this particular article, we'll confine our discussion to the present taxation policy on cryptocurrencies. That is, whether the cryptocurrencies can be brought under the ambit of tax, what are the challenges, and what should be done going ahead. So based upon our discussion, a mains question for your practice here could be, what do you think are the major challenges in taxing the crypto assets in India? Suggest some strategies for the adoption of clear, unambiguous, and streamlined tax regime for the crypto assets. So as part of this particular video analysis, we'll focus upon three distinct dimensions, that is the present taxation policy on cryptocurrencies, what are the challenges, and how to address these challenges. So coming to the first dimension, that is the present taxation policy on the cryptocurrencies. See, first and foremost, you have to understand here that right now we do not have any explicit provisions either under the Income Tax Act or under the GST Act to bring the cryptocurrencies under the ambit of tax. So as of now, we do not have any explicit provisions, but at the same time, we can make the general provisions applicable to bring the cryptocurrencies under the ambit of tax. Now let me explain this through a simple example. See, whenever a person is filing the income tax, a person is required to take into account all the sources from where he is earning the income. And these sources of income he is required to show under different heads. For example, whatever income he is earning through salary, he has to show it under the head of the salary account. Whatever income he is earning from his business, he is required to show under the business income. Whatever income he is earning in the form of capital gains, he is required to show it under the heads of the capital gain. So what exactly is this capital gains? Now let's say a particular person is buying an asset, and upon selling this particular asset, a person may be making a profit. So how much of a profit this person is making, on these profits he will be required to pay the capital gains tax. Now for example, let's say a particular person has bought a commercial property. Let's say he has bought this commercial property in the year 2010, and let's say he must have bought this particular commercial property at say around rupees 10 lakhs. Now in the year 2020, this particular person may sell off this commercial property at say rupees 25 lakhs. It means that in this particular case, the person has made a profit of rupees 15 lakhs. So on this 15 lakhs worth profit, he is required to pay the capital gains tax. This capital gains tax as such is applicable to all the assets. So similar to how he pays the capital gains tax on the sale of a commercial property, he will also be required to pay the capital gains tax on sale of a equity or a share. So whenever a person is making profits on sale of a particular share, on the profits that he gains, on those profits he is required to pay the capital gains tax. Please understand here that the capital gains tax would come into picture only when the person sells off an asset and realizes the profit. Now for example, let's say if I have bought a share initially at rupees 10 last year, and the value of this particular share now may have appreciated to rupees 15. Now whatever profit which I have made here, that is rupees 5, this is so far unrealized profit because I may not have sold off this particular share. But if I sell off this particular share, only then I will make a profit. and this profit I'll be calling it as the realized profit. So only when I realize the profit, only then I will be required to pay the capital gains tax. If I don't sell off this particular share, if I continue to hold on to this particular share, even if the price of this particular share increases, then I will not be required to pay the capital gains tax. Capital gains tax will come into picture when I sell off the asset, and on selling of the assets I make profits. So this is as far as the capital gains is concerned. Similarly, a person may also earn income from other sources. Let's say he is earning income from the rental of a commercial building. So that rental income, he has to put it under the income from other sources. So that is how a person must file his income tax returns. So let's understand as to how this will be made applicable to the cryptocurrencies. See, just like how a person is accounting for his different sources of income while filing the income tax returns, on similar lines, if a person is making profits or if a person is earning income on these cryptocurrencies, this income he in turn has to show it under different heads. This income he must show it either under the business income or under the capital gains or under the other sources of income. Now, whether this income that he earns from cryptocurrencies should it be shown under the business income, capital gains income, or other sources of income, this all depends upon the purpose and intent of buying the cryptocurrencies. Now, depending upon the purpose and the intent for which a person is buying the cryptocurrencies, the income that he earns from these cryptocurrencies can be put under different heads, which can include the business income, capital gains income, or the other sources of income. Now let's simplify this by taking an example. Now let's say there is a particular person who is involved in high volume and high frequency buying and selling of cryptocurrencies, which means in a single year, a particular person may be buying huge volume of cryptocurrencies, and these cryptocurrencies he may be frequently buying and selling them. So this shows that the basic purpose and intent of this particular person of buying cryptocurrencies is that this person is involved in trading of cryptocurrencies. So since he is involved in trading of cryptocurrencies, whatever income that he earns from the trading, it should be accounted as a business income. So it is being assumed that the business of this particular person is trading. That is why whatever money that is earning from the trading of the cryptocurrencies, he must account it as a business income. Secondly, let's say there is another person, and this particular person may be buying only few cryptocurrencies, and these cryptocurrencies he may not be frequently buying and selling them. Now, as far as this particular person is concerned, his basic purpose and intent of buying cryptocurrencies is not for the purpose of trading. Rather, his main purpose and intent of buying cryptocurrencies is this person sees cryptocurrencies as a source of investment. So, whenever a person is making profits on the sale of these cryptocurrencies, that profits he must show it under the capital gains head. Thirdly, there may be certain companies or there may be certain persons who may be involved in mining of new cryptocurrencies. So basic purpose and intent of these entities is to make quick profits. So these entities as such would have to show their income from cryptocurrencies, that is the income that they earn from mining of new cryptocurrencies, under the other sources of income. Apart from that, as I said, in India, we have come across a large number of private crypto exchanges such as the WazirX and so on. Now, what these crypto exchanges basically do is they create a platform to bring the buyers and seller. Apart from this, these crypto exchanges may also sell off the cryptocurrencies of their own. So whenever they sell these cryptocurrencies or whenever they facilitate the transactions or trade in cryptocurrencies, these crypto exchanges earn commission. So on these commission as such, they are required to pay a GST at the rate of 18%. So what we have discussed so far is, as of now, we do not have any explicit provisions under the Income Tax Act or the GST Act as far as the cryptocurrencies is concerned. But whatever general provisions we have, these general provisions can be made applicable to the cryptocurrencies. And if you make applicable these general provisions to the cryptocurrencies, then the individuals or the companies would have to pay tax on the income that they earn from the cryptocurrencies. Already, in case of India, a large number of taxpayers have started paying tax to the government for the income that they have earned from the cryptocurrencies. So this is the present taxation policy. Now, this particular article highlights a number of challenges with respect to the present taxation policy. Let us understand these challenges one by one. First and foremost, as I stated before, presently there is an absence of the explicit tax provisions related to the private cryptocurrencies. So in absence of the explicit tax provisions, there is lack of legal certainty and clarity. Now, for example, let's say there is a company which is involved in mining of new cryptocurrencies. So let's say it mines new cryptocurrencies and then sells off these cryptocurrencies. Now, question is, under which head should this company file the income tax returns? Should this company file the income tax returns under the head of the other sources of income, or should it show this particular income under the business income? Because as it is, this particular company is involved in the business of creating new cryptocurrencies. So there is lack of clarity as to under which head should this company show its income. Whether should it show its income under the business income, or should it show it under the other sources of income? This is just one example of lack of clarity. Second example is, see, if you look at these crypto exchanges, now for example, the Kuber or say Wazir X. Now these crypto exchanges, as I said, they earn commission on facilitating the crypto transactions. And this commission as such, they can either earn in the form of rupee, or they can earn the commission in the form of the cryptocurrency. Now, for example, let's say there is an individual who is doing a transaction on the Kuber platform, and this individual is required to pay commission to the Kuber platform. Now, this individual may pay the commission either in terms of rupee, or he can pay the commission in terms of a cryptocurrency itself. Now, the question here is, when this company is required to pay the GST, whether this GST will be applicable only on the commission that it earns in the form of rupee, or whether this GST will also be made applicable on the commission that this company earns in the form of cryptocurrency. There is lack of legal clarity with respect to this. So presently there is lack of legal clarity as to whether this GST is applicable only on the rupee commission that the crypto exchanges earn, or is it applicable both on rupee as well as the cryptocurrency commission earned by the crypto exchanges. Now recently this had become a very big issue because the tax authorities had cracked down on a number of private crypto exchanges. Now the tax authorities stated that these private crypto exchanges did not pay the GST on the commission which they earned in the form of cryptocurrency. So as you can see, there was a lack of legal clarity with respect to this particular aspect, and accordingly the tax authorities cracked down on a number of private crypto exchanges and demanded these private crypto exchanges to pay the tax even on the commission that they earn in the form of cryptocurrencies. So what we need to do going ahead here is, we need to come out with explicit and unambiguous provisions related to how the cryptocurrency transactions would have to be taxed. So we need to have certain explicit provisions in the Income Tax Act or the GST Act, and these provisions should clear all the confusions right now we have with respect to taxation of the cryptocurrencies. So we must come up with a detailed definition of crypto assets. We must come up with a detailed guidelines, and we must also design separate forms for filing of income that the companies or the individuals earn from the cryptocurrencies. The second challenge is with respect to the nature of the cryptocurrency transactions. See, presently what happens is, the individual taxpayers, they may decide to buy the cryptocurrencies, and when they buy the cryptocurrencies, they may decide to store these cryptocurrencies in the wallets outside India. So these wallets as such, they may be stored in the servers outside India. So when these wallets are located outside India, it becomes quite difficult to pinpoint as to which country's laws should be made applicable to such crypto transactions. Now, for example, let's say an individual based in India, he may be buying the cryptocurrencies, but these cryptocurrencies he may be storing in the wallets which are located in Singapore. Now the question is, which country's laws would be made applicable here? Would it be the Indian laws or it would be the laws of Singapore? So this is the first problem. Apart from that, different countries have adopted different policies with respect to cryptocurrencies. Some countries have completely banned cryptocurrencies. Some countries have allowed the trading of cryptocurrencies. So different countries have adopted different policies and different countries have adopted different tax rates. So presently we do not have a uniform policy across the globe with respect to the taxation of these cryptocurrencies. So in absence of an international legal framework on how the cryptocurrencies should have to be taxed, it becomes quite difficult for India to impose tax on the cross-border transactions of the cryptocurrencies. The next important challenge is with respect to the anonymous transactions. As you know, when a person is doing a transaction with cryptocurrencies, a person can remain anonymous, and because of this, it becomes quite difficult for the tax authorities to keep a tab on the individuals who are doing a trading in the cryptocurrencies. Some of these individuals may be the tax evaders, and these tax evaders may be in turn using the crypto transactions to either park their black money outside India or to fund the criminal activities or terrorism. So because of the anonymous nature of the cryptocurrency transactions, it becomes quite difficult for the tax authorities to determine the tax liability. The next problem is with respect to the difficulty of the tax authorities to track down on the tax evaders. See, whenever the individuals file for income tax, what the income tax authorities normally do is they ascertain these income tax filings from third-party intermediaries. For example, when a person is filing his income tax returns, in some of the cases, the income tax authorities may ascertain his income tax returns from the third-party entities such as the banks. So banks in this case would provide all the necessary information to the income tax authorities. So the income tax authorities would look at his bank accounts and then compare this with his income tax returns. So based upon this particular information, the income tax authorities may decide to crack down on the tax evasion. However, in case of the cryptocurrency transactions, it becomes quite difficult for the tax authorities to identify these tax evaders. Why is this so? See here, as you can see, if income tax authorities wants to crack down on the people who are evading tax, they rely on the information provided by the third party entities such as banks. Similarly, if the tax authorities wants to crack down on the tax evaders who are investing in cryptocurrencies, the tax authorities would need the necessary information from the third party entities. In case of cryptocurrencies, these third party entities would be the private crypto exchanges, the wallet providers, network operators, miners, etc. But the problem is, as of now, these entities are completely unregulated. They are not regulated by the government. And because of this, collecting the necessary information from these entities becomes quite difficult. So since the tax authorities do not get the necessary information from the private crypto exchanges, the wallet providers, etc., it becomes quite difficult for the income tax authorities to crack down on the income tax evaders. So now let's understand as to what strategies should India adopt. First and foremost, as I said, we must provide for explicit and unambiguous provisions in the Income Tax Act. Secondly, in case of US, the US government has come up with a mandatory disclosure requirements. As part of the mandatory disclosure requirements, all the taxpayers as well as third-party intermediaries, that is exchanges, wallet providers, miners, etc., are required to disclose all the cryptocurrency related transactions with the tax authorities. So similar to this mandatory disclosure requirement that is there in US, even in India as well, we need to provide for a mandatory disclosure requirement. So all the individual taxpayers as well as all the third party intermediaries should be under obligation to disclose all the information or all the transactions which they have carried out with respect to cryptocurrencies. This will in turn help us to track down on the tax evaders. It will also help us bring down the anonymous transactions which may be carried out, and this can also help us to bring down the cross-border nature of the cryptocurrency transactions. Nextly, See, presently we have signed a number of bilateral agreements with other countries to provide for exchange of tax-rated information. So going forward, these bilateral agreements as such should be further strengthened in order to enable the collecting and sharing of information related to the crypto transactions. And lastly, necessary training and capacity building should be imparted to the tax authorities so that their capability to crack down on tax evasion because of cryptocurrency transaction is enhanced. In this regard, this particular article highlights that the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes has come up with a separate training module on cryptocurrency. So this particular training module should be in turn incorporated into India, and the necessary training and capacity building should be provided to our tax authorities. So these are some of the strategies which the article has highlighted. So these are some of the important aspects which one should know as far as this particular article is concerned. So based upon our discussion, please try to write an answer to this particular mains question for practice. With this, let us now take up the next article.
There is an article in the explainer section of the Hindu, Web 3, a vision for the future. Web 3 is the next version of the internet where services will run on blockchain. The use of blockchain is the key defining feature of Web 3. Presently, we're having Web 2. And as you would understand, if Web 3.0 will be using blockchain, it will result in a scenario where the internet users will not require permissions and the internet use will be democratic. For instance, Twitter will not be able to censor posts, and Facebook will not be able to maintain a database of billions of users that can be potentially used to influence elections and bring other social engineering. Using Web 3.0, people will control their own data and will be able to move around from social media to email to shopping using a single personalized account, creating a public record on the blockchain of all their activities. So the data that users will be generating, they will be interconnected in a decentralized way. Unlike the current generation of internet under Web 2.0, where data is mostly stored in centralized repositories owned by big tech companies. Web 3.0 is still in infancy, although it is said to have been started in the year 2021. But since blockchain technology has not been adopted extensively yet, so Web 3.0 has not developed and expanded very much, but the use of Web 3.0 has been started. Web 3.0 has three characteristics. One is its ubiquity. It will become very common, it will be very popular, and it will be personalized. Web 3.0 is also called as semantic web. We'll see the difference between Web 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. Web 1.0 did not allow the user to interact with internet. For example, blogging, use of social media platform, that wasn't possible, which Web 2.0 made possible. But Web 3.0 will allow the use of the data again and again without loss of originality. So every data floating on internet is machine readable. That is why artificial intelligence is an essential component of Web 3.0. Data will be interlinked because blockchain technology will be used, which is a digital ledger, and data getting produced on internet are interconnected and they are readable. You understand, if it is made readable very easily, only then interconnectedness is possible and the record of flow of data will be made possible. So artificial intelligence and 3D graphics will also be the key characteristic of Web 3.0. The most common example of Web 3.0 in the recent time is NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Non-fungible meaning that they cannot be used for transaction. They cannot have exchange rates. For example, cryptocurrency is a fungible token. Non-fungible tokens cannot be used for transactions. World Wide Web, the internet, was intended to be a collaborative medium, a place where all can meet and read and write. But the current situation is entirely different. The big tech companies, they act as gatekeepers. They control the generation and the flow of data. So the original intention of creating internet is getting defeated. Web 3.0 has been imagined to check this disbalance and make the web democratic again. World Wide Web, Internet, started in 1990, and the period between 1990 to 2005 is considered to be the era of Web 1.0. It was also known as syntactic web or read-only web because mostly Web 1.0 was limited to searching the information and reading what's already there. There was very little for the user interaction. or content contribution. It was pretty disorganized and was kind of overwhelming for the internet users. In mid 2000s, Web 1.0 was replaced by Web 2.0, and this is what currently we are using. This enhanced user experience and made World Wide Web interactive. So it is also called as social web or read write web. It enables users to participate in content creation. This was the characteristic feature of Web 2.0. Search engines like Google and social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, they are driven by user generated content. And these platforms in Web 2.0, they disrupted the traditional media, advertising, and retail industries. But understand that Web 2.0, it was based on a business model that relies on users' participation to create fresh content and the resultant data being sold to third parties for marketing purpose. That's the business model of Web 2.0. Web 3.0 is the next phase in the evolution of World Wide Web. It would make internet more intelligent because it could process information with near human like intelligence through the power of artificial intelligence networks. The data in Web 1.0 was stored, of course, in local servers. In Web 2.0, it could also have been stored in local servers, but Web 2.0 also used on premise or the cloud network. These were not local servers, but Web 2.0 used local servers on the premise or in the cloud network. Web 3.0 will also use these technologies for storing the data, but additionally, it will use blockchain. And blockchain will enable a distributed networks. So internet will largely be decentralized. Web 1.0 could enable only reading the web pages, but Web 2.0 changed everything. User could interact over internet. They can interact, send messages, they can upload images, they can be active on social media platforms. And because of two-way communication, e-commerce could also be made possible. Web 3.0, among other things, will make the cryptocurrency transactions possible because of the use of digital ledger, the blockchain technology. In the scenario of Web 1.0, the data were stored and owned by companies who used to run the web pages. Because the companies who used to run the web pages, they were hosting the server because the servers were not the local servers. In Web 2.0, many of the data is owned by companies that are hosting application either locally or in the cloud services. But in Web 3.0, data will not be owned by anyone because you understand using blockchain technology, the network will be distributed. There will be no one common server. So everyone hosts the data. So data is owned by no one. Because of two-way communication made possible by Web 2.0, payment gateways were made possible. So transaction could happen, e-commerce could happen, and payments over internet could happen. But Web 2.0 is not very suitable for use of cryptocurrency. Crypto tokens can be safely used over Web 3.0. Well, you may understand that Web 3.0 is the natural progression in the evolution process of WWW, World Wide Web, the internet. When a technology very prominent comes up, we find application of that in other areas. Blockchain technology, artificial intelligence, the prominence of these technologies will naturally result in Web 3.0. But this natural progression also comes with lots of benefits. For example, issue of privacy will be addressed by Web 3.0. Presently, a huge amount of data is generated when consumers search, shop, or upload videos and pictures. All this data is stored in the servers of companies that the people interact with. This means that intermediaries become custodians of user data and profit from it via advertisement. For such companies, the more time consumers spend creating content, the more data the company can collect, helping it to improve its AI algorithm and its advertising engine, a key revenue model for the company. That's how Web 2.0 has been working. This gives rise to the issue of privacy, where the user data is shared for profit without their consent. And we have understood previously that in Web 3.0, data will not be stored and owned by companies. That will address the concern of privacy. Presently, the only centralized repositories exist, repositories of those who own the user data and profit from it. But in Web 3.0, the user can own and be properly compensated for their time and the data that they are generating. So, data ownership will come in the hand of people and the internet will become more democratic. You also understand that plagiarism is widespread on internet. It's very easy to copy original content and build a following using that content on social media. Those who copy content get compensated way more than the original content creator. So plagiarism makes it harder for creators to get adequately compensated. Web 3.0, as you would understand, using blockchain technology, can find the original source of content. The transparent nature of blockchain makes it easy for anyone to track the original content creator. So the issue of plagiarism will be addressed by Web 3.0. But there will be certain implications of using Web 3.0, and hence we need some regulatory preparedness and otherwise as well. In Web 3.0, as you understand, instead of data residing in the centralized database of big companies, it is going to reside on the blockchain technology, which is not controlled by one organization. And with that, a person's data become their choice, and which advertiser they want to give to it also is their choice. That will effectively end the data imperialism. Web 3.0 adoption will force big tech companies to rethink their core business models and become more community owned and community driven. And these companies are already experimenting with different aspects of technology. Google, Facebook, they already have started it. But there's a risk, the risk of over regulation. Regulation of any democratic thing has to be done very, very diligently. There's a risk of over regulation by authoritarian regime. For example, you might know China began researching on digital money in 2014 and it plans to force its exclusive use that will definitely affect the private firms. Web 2.0 was against the spirit of Web 1.0. Web 3.0 is bringing back that spirit, but we have to be cautious that the regulatory regime that we have for Web 3.0 does not destroy the spirit of Web 3.0. For instance, in India, we are looking for regulating cryptocurrencies, and a mechanism is being thought over presently that cryptocurrency be regulated by SEBI. Whenever a new system comes in, regulation has to be done. But that regulation should not be the case of over regulation and destroying the spirit of a democratic setup. That's why a new regulatory thinking is required for regulating Web 3.0. Regulation, nevertheless, is needed because Web 3.0 will not be perfect. It will not be bereft of risk. There will be risks such as capture of communities by specific groups, even when the servers will be distributed, even when the process is democratic still. Just like voting systems and the democracy, they can be captured by specific groups. Similarly, this democratic setup can also be captured by specific groups. There could be inadequate grievance redressal in that distributed system. There could also be misuse for illegal activities. The entry of fraudulent actors can also become easy. So, regulation nevertheless is required, but some innovative thinking is also required that regulation does not choke up the progress of Web 3.0 in India. We need to have the first mover advantage. So, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology can lay down some overarching principles, largely based on the principle of self and co-regulation. There is an article on page number 15, Volcano caused significant damage. This is referring to the volcano in Tonga, and this has been covered in yesterday's DNS. But just to check on you, awareness concerning volcanoes, answer this question. You have to match volcano with their location. Ojos del Sadalo has been paired up with Brazil, Kilimanjaro with Tanzania, and Mount Rainier with USA. Kilimanjaro, Mount Rainier are extremely famous. You would know that they have been correctly matched. But Ojos del Salado, this is at the border of Argentina and Chile, and this is considered to be one of the highest active volcano. So answer would be option C. There are some other articles in today's newspaper important for the exam, but they have been covered previously very recently in the DNS. There is one editorial article concerning India and Sri Lanka relation, and there is one article concerning hate speech. Vaibhav sir has covered recently India-Sri Lanka relation, and Mangal sir has covered the issue of hate speech extensively. The reference to both of them will be there in the description section just in case you have missed on them. Now you have answer to yesterday's question of the day and today's question of the day on your screen. Please attempt the question, write your answer in the comment section, and for more practice, also try to attempt the DNS quiz on the ELEARN platform. Goodbye, take care.